Okay, liberty and peril. I just want to talk about this very briefly. We are right now taking a series of events, what we call mini events, around the state, talking about liberty and peril. And the main subject we're talking about is the topic for tonight that Rick Green will present an incredible presentation on, is religious liberty. And I'm going to camp on this just for a few minutes to kind of set the stage for him, but to also let you know why Wisconsin Family Council feels so keenly about this. I've been doing this for 15 years. I did not have any idea in 1997 when I was hired to work with Wisconsin Family Council that I would be fighting for my very life when it comes to religious liberty 15 years later. My friends, I hope you understand that the enemy is after us.
Right.
The enemy is looking to take us down and out. And religious freedom is one of the main ways that that is happening in this country and right here in this state. Please understand that most of what happens is in some way or another related to that first freedom that our forefathers talked about, which is religious freedom. You and I are here tonight in this beautiful facility, and it will be filled more than once on this Sunday. And the churches all across this beautiful city will be filled on Sunday. Because we live in a country that says in its Constitution that government cannot get in the way of the free exercise of our faith. That is religious freedom. That is not freedom of worship. And I am sure Rick will get into this. But my friends, my faith is to be lived out 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, and it better impact everything I do. If not, and it's only good for Sunday morning, what good is it for all eternity? We need to take it into the marketplace of ideas. We need to take it into the house of education, whether it's in secondary level education, elementary level education, or higher education. It needs to permeate everything. And when our voices get silenced, when we are sidelined and marginalized and extinguished and threatened and bullied into silence, we are in danger of losing the ability to freely and openly share the gospel of Jesus Christ. Through our Christian schools, through our churches, through our camps, through all kinds of various ministries we have in this great country. I, for one, made up my mind several years ago, with every breath I have, that I will not allow this to happen without fighting back. We have an opportunity. It's not done and over, but it's very real. And Wisconsin Family Council has devoted a tremendous amount of resources this year to pushing back on this encroachment and attack on religious freedom. People ask me every once in a while, why do you do what you do, Julaine? I'll tell you one of the main reasons I do what I do, because I think it would be reprehensible and unforgivable for us to give up what God has so richly blessed us with, which is the freedom to share the gospel around the world. Hinges on our ability, from a human standpoint. God has his own plan and he's going to work it out to perfection, and no one is going to be able to stop it. But when we look at it from a human perspective, for the last 230 some years, who has been the main means by which missionary work has been done all around the world? The United States of America. Because we have been blessed with prosperity, we've been blessed with freedom. And I cannot imagine that we just ignore the opportunity we've been given to have this phenomenal freedom and say, well, we're just going to roll over and play dead. I take you back to just a couple months ago when Dan Cathy, the CEO, founder and CEO of Chick-fil-A restaurants, gave a private interview to a Baptist publication, and basically what he said was, if you are asking me whether I believe marriage is between one man and one woman, guilty as charged. And the world fell apart. And it backfired. But listen closely to what I have to say. Some would say that's about freedom of speech. I tell you what, I don't think the founders put the Establishment Clause, the Free Exercise Clause, and the Freedom of Speech Clause right at one after the other in the First Amendment by accident. I believe they saw that they were all related, and they wanted to make the point. Yes, there was free speech involved, but my friends, most of all, what was happening is Dan Cathy was being told by those who want to change the definition of marriage to be something other than one man and one woman, as God has ordained it. He was being told, you either back off or we will take you down. They wanted, in the worst way, to silence him, to put his business at risk. Fortunately, God's people rose up on August 1st, thanks to people like Mike Huckabee and others, and I know Wallbuilders, Rick Green's organization that he works with, promoted Chick-fil-A Day. And we pushed back a little bit. My friends, that's not all we should be doing. There is so much else we can do. This is the election where we have the opportunity to say, stop treading on my religious freedom. Stop pushing against that. Now, I don't think for a minute that it's going to stop just because we have an election on November 6th. But I do think it can get a whole lot better. And we have a window of opportunity. Wisconsin Family Council has 2 programs I want to talk to you about now, and then I want to introduce our speaker, and then we'll come back to them at the end of the program. First of all, our church liaison program. We are looking for people all across the state who will commit to being a church liaison for your church, helping us get information, maybe through the church proper, but if the church is uncomfortable with that, at least using your network of people within your church to get information to them on who the candidates are, what the issues are, and how they can vote their values on November the 6th. Secondly, we have a program called Do You Have Your 10? We are challenging people in this state, all across the state, to get a list of at least 10 people you will commit to making sure vote in this election. Whether it's by early voting, or absentee ballot, or showing up at the polls on November 6th. Now, quite honestly, I can't imagine why anybody doesn't want to go to the polls and cast a ballot if you've got the opportunity. I love going to the polls. It's fun, it's exciting, it's part of the process. But for those of you who must vote by absentee, or think it's, a better use of your time to vote by early voting, okay, we'll let you do that. Just make sure you vote and make sure you get your 10. In your program, there is a list there for you, a sheet of paper that says, do you have your 10? We would ask that you take that seriously. You fill that out and you make a personal commitment to make sure that at least 10 people in your sphere of influence go to the polls and vote. And bear in mind that we should all, as Christians, be voting pro-family, pro-life, pro-liberty. That's right. Our religious liberty needs to be foremost in our thinking. And I don't have time tonight to develop this, but I got to tell you real quickly, if you don't think there's a relationship between religious freedom and the economy, you need to go back to Civics 101 or Econ 101 or some kind of Sociology 101, because married people are, let me back up for a minute. Religious freedom is the foundation for how we do business. When you remove religious freedom from a country and you start taking away the influence of religion, you end up with people who exhibit in every way graft, greed, and corruption, who defraud each other in business deals, who take advantage of each other in every way we can think of. And we end up with examples like Enron and Bernie Madoff and the Lehman Brothers and a host of other examples. Religious freedom is fundamental to how we do business in Wisconsin and how we do business in this country, the United States of America. There is someone tonight who is far better than I am at talking about these issues, and I'll tell you, anytime that I can make this kind of introduction, I am truly honored. This is the second time that Rick Green has been here in Wausau to present for us, and it is always a pleasure to have him. Rick Green represents Wallbuilders. David Barton is the founder and president of that organization. They are a national pro-family organization, and they take their name from the book of Nehemiah, in which, you know the story, Nehemiah comes back and helps rebuild the walls that form that defense for the city of Jerusalem.